What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with data, this upcoming week should be a fun one. So you have manufacturing, forecast is 47.2. So that's coming out on Monday. Throughout the week, you do have quite a lot of Fed speakers, even Powell on Wednesday, but a lot of them most likely are going to be talking on just the interest rates. And in general, this is what it currently is looking like for the December 18th meeting. So currently there is a 66% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut. But with the recent PCE data and just the economy doing very, very strong, in my opinion, there isn't really any justifying reasons to cut 25 basis points. So we'll just have to wait and see, but most likely what they will state is that we will monitor the data. And this week does have a lot of data that they will be monitoring, one of which is JOLT report. So that's coming out on Tuesday. Wednesday, you have good old Powell. So that's at 1:45, always a fun time. Thursday is the typical initial jobless claims. And then Friday, you have non-farm payroll. You also have consumer sentiment and then unemployment. So the Feds will have a lot to digest. So essentially, a lot of which I brought up can and will really influence the broader market, either really propel it higher to higher highs or really break it down. Regrettably, Lucid's been kind of stuck in limbo, so only recently has it started to really participate in more of an uptrend. So I'm going to go over that in a second, but specific to Lucid though, only two things that is planned. But then again, this has been kind of my pet peeve. Sometimes you just see on social media like, hey, Peter participated in a podcast or something like that, go check it out. Like, they don't really let investors know ahead of time about any of those types of things, or sometimes they just go do some auto show but they don't post it on upcoming events. It's just not really transparent. But based on their website, it does show two things. So a pop-up tour in Orlando, so that's from December the 1st to the 29th, and then up until the December 2nd, there's going to be the Lucid Gravity at the Lucid Studio Natick or whatever mall. So yeah, I think pretty good stuff. As I stated in my video yesterday that I put out on Saturday, I think the Gravity most likely will be unveiled in the second week of December, so most likely between the 9th and the 12th. That's just my estimate. But if they were to put it out this upcoming week, even better. That's the only thing that the market in reality is waiting for, so we'll just have to wait and see. Shorts did surprisingly return 1.55 million shares on Friday, so going into this upcoming week, 24.55% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 292.75 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average 1.06. So generally shorts have been increasing, getting more and more bold with obviously Lucid for whatever reason. I'm not really sure exactly why, especially with the broader market optimism. Consumers, a lot of good data has been coming out in that regard, so consumers' buying power has been increasing. So yeah, honestly, I think it will come down to Lucid just coming out with some kick-ass numbers, especially about the Gravity. At this stage, they opened up the reservations on I believe it was the 7th or something like that. So in general, they could just say, hey, we're actually getting more demand than what we anticipated for the Gravity. So round of applause to us. I think the market would really appreciate that and obviously move the stock price higher, because right now on a technical stance, I'll quickly go over here. So it is right now above the ALMA. So I'll zoom in. This kind of blue line right here, it's been flirting with that. And it kind of did show a similar type of breakout kind of criteria at the beginning of November, but regrettably no dice. I think that actually was because of Tesla that really killed the momentum. But beside the point, this time around, it actually does look fairly optimistic. Options as well is kind of signaling that there's a lot more optimism over the last 2 trading days than it has in the last several weeks. So if Lucid was going to have a breakout, I feel like this is the time it could actually happen. And there's a very wide gap between this and a lot of the key moving averages, such as 50, 100, and 200, and plus even on the fib levels I'll go over in a second. So there is, in theory, a lot of room for it to really go up. And on a side note, if it does get above this kind of 250, 248 range, that is the super trend. So a lot of algorithmic trading does feed off of that. So if Lucid is able to get above that point, then algos will really start to buy up Lucid. So yeah, that could happen. We'll just have to wait and see. Cautiously optimistic, of course. And then going over here, this is the options. So you are seeing a little bit more dollar value, a little bit, but when it comes down to it, this is the open interest. So not really much activity. You see January 17th, 2025 to be red hot. So that is a very popular one. And that's obviously a monthly chain, of course, but generally just looking at what the volume from Friday. So this is the optimism that I was talking on. So you're starting to see people feel that it could actually get back above that $3 range. It's been a while since people started to even think about $3. And surprisingly, this did pop up as well. So some people are thinking about $4.50 for March, that expiry date. So March 21st, 2025. So once again, I like to be cautiously optimistic. I know exactly what the market is wanting of Lucid, but whether they put it out or not, I think that's just that's the $1 million question, right? And as far as right now with that $2.18, it is currently trading between this pivot and this S1. So $2.14 is going to be that strong support that you want to watch for it to hold. Flip side, $2.64 is going to be that next strong target / resistance. So like I said, there is a pretty wide gap for it to essentially move higher. And if it does get above that 248 to 250 range, then that is where algos should really propel it higher to this 260 range. So yeah, I think in reality, a lot of big names are starting to talk about Lucid, especially on social media. I've seen a lot of random accounts just say, hey, this stock is very, very overdone and it's due for kind of for it to go higher. And I think in general, big money is doing the exact same thing. The big money in the market is scouring for value plays, stocks that did not participate in the recent run, because pretty much every stock that I look at is very high. It's all gone up like 50, some 60, 70% in like 2 months. Absolute craziness. So if you are a value investor, you're kind of pulling out your hair right now a little bit. So in general, I think this is where some big money might be gravitating towards Lucid and hopefully propelling it higher and keeping it above a lot of those key points that I did talk on. So yeah, like I said, I think just generally speaking, this week might be fairly good. Whether it gets to kind of that 260 range, I think it's all going to rely on the data points, so the jobs data, unemployment, and whatever else. But I like to be cautiously optimistic as far as this week. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Are you a buyer this week? Are you just kind of sitting back and watching? Or what's your overall viewpoint? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend thus far. And then one final thing I do want to share with you though, I did launch a Patreon where I'm giving buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolute bangers. So pop over there, take a look. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.